Hey guys, it's Austin with Out Jeeping. In today's video, I'm going to be showing how to install a valve cover gasket in your Jeep 4.0. So the Jeep we're going to be working on today is my 1998 Jeep Cherokee. So to start off, let's pop the hood. Alright, so as you can see under the hood, we have the valve cover, which is right in the middle right here. And we're basically just going to be taking stuff off that's in the way of it. So we got the throttle cables here and some vacuum lines. So I'm just going to start doing that. So these throttle cables just pop out of their holders. And then it's easier just to take this bracket off instead of pushing it through the bracket for all the throttle cables. And that's just going to be 3 10mm bolts. Then we can just set this to the side so it's completely out of the way. And then we can take this vacuum hose off. Simply pulls off like that. And we got one back here. And then we got this throttle cable that loops around. You can probably disconnect this one from the bracket that we just took off of this side. Basically push it through the hole so that way it's completely on the driver's side so it's not over the valve cover gasket when we're trying to take it off. So basically just taking a screwdriver, pushing the tabs in, and then it pops out like that. Now in some models of the Jeep they might have the heater hose bracket that's on one of the studs. It just simply pops up like so. Now depending on if you have a distributor ignition or coil packs, if you have a distributor you have this little plastic bracket that helps keep all the spark plug wires into place. Basically it's just another nut on top of the stud that is for the valve cover, so we can take that off too. So all these studs that go around for the valve cover, they're going to be a 7/16. Now some of them are going to be studs, some of them are going to be normal bolts. If you can't remember which one goes where, you can just basically take them out and set them in the same design that they would go in. But first I'm going to take this little bracket off. This has nuts that go on top of the existing studs to hold in this little plastic bracket. And I don't need to remove it completely, just push it to the side so it's not in the way. And then we should have enough room to squeeze by these heater hoses. Obviously if yours is closer or if your clamp is cocked in the wrong position, you might want to loosen that up and just move it out of the way. And then on the back side we have a wiring harness that uses a clip that goes over one of the studs. And then lastly, to give us some more room, we can basically just pop off this wire harness that uses the head studs just to clamp on. So this just pops up. Take off the sensor just to have more room. That moved to the side, we can start taking off all the bolts that hold it down. Alright, so we got one more bolt and it's directly on the back of the engine over here. As you can see, it gets a little bit tight with the firewall, so I'm going to be using a swivel on here. and then just feeding this down. And then carefully taking my impact to it. And there we go. Alright, so now this should be loose. And it should pop off. Now we just have to route it around this heater line up here. There we go. Then we got the old gasket that's still stuck on the head. Let's take a screwdriver, pry it up. Alright, so before we put the new gasket on, I'm simply just going to clean it up on the head and on the valve cover side, get all the grime and stuff off the surfaces where the gasket meets, and then also I'll probably just clean up the whole entire valve cover gasket and make it nice and shiny. So I'm just basically going to be taking a paper towel with either mineral spirits or any type of degreaser just to get all the crud off there so we have a good mating surface for the gasket. Alright, so while I was cleaning up the surface for the valve cover gasket, I went and took out the old grommets that go in all the holes. Now the kit I got here is a Felpro gasket set, and they come with new grommets that go into all the holes. So basically you just take it and pop it into the hole like so. So I'm going to do that for all of them. Then we can set the gasket on and put the cover back into place. Alright, so now we can take our new gasket and slide it into place. Keep in mind that they have holes on either side, and they're basically going to go towards the passenger side, so we can set it down just like that. Alright, with that set on there, we can go get our valve cover. There we go. Make sure none of the grommets came out of place. And then we can start putting some bolts in. I'm going to start off by putting them in only finger tight. One other thing I forgot to mention when putting on the new grommets is to take out this aluminum spacer that was on the old grommets, and you want to put it into the new grommets. So that way when we're tightening down the bolts, that the bolt won't get swallowed up in the grommet, and it'll push it down all nicely with these aluminum spacers. So when tightening down all the bolts for the valve cover gasket, since we have the aluminum spacer in there, we can basically go until that bottom's out, and it won't take too much, probably about like 5 foot-pounds, and you'll feel it bottom out. So right there, and that's good. And basically the torque sequence on tightening this down is we want to basically just work from the inside out equally. That way no specific spot on the valve cover has too much pressure to prevent any warpage or anything like that. So with the valve cover bolts all tightened out, we can go and put the rest of the stuff back that was over the valve cover. I'm going to start off with this spark plug wire holder. Basically it just slips onto the studs, and then we got 2 nuts that thread right in. Right now we got our holder for our heater core hoses. That slides onto this stud. And then we can pop the hoses back into place. Like so. Now I'm going to take this wiring harness and pop it back into place. They slide right onto the head studs. Plug your sensor back in. Now we can plug one of the vacuum hoses back in up here, and then the other on the back of the valve cover pops right into there. Then we can take our throttle cable, snap into the clip there, and then take our throttle cable bracket, push it to the other side. Take that one accelerator cable, then we can pop it right back into the hole. Then we can set this on the intake manifold, and then we can thread in the 3 10mm bolts. Then we can pop these cables back into their holders, and then pop on our throttle cables to the throttle body. Basically take them, snap them in. Alright, so everything's back together and we're pretty much done. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. As you can see, it wasn't too hard of a job to do. It's probably one of the easiest gaskets to do on the Jeep 4.0. But I hope you guys learned something, and make sure to like and subscribe to the OutGeeping YouTube channel to help keep these videos coming. So, until next time, I'll see you guys in the next how-to.